Welcome to this short tutorial on using the new online application for benefits through the Vermont Department for Children and Families Economic Services Division, commonly known as ESD. My name is Angela Smith-Jang, and I work with the Vermont Campaign to End Childhood Hunger. The campaign has been working closely with ESD to ensure that Vermonters, including advocates and service providers, have the knowledge and resources they need to access ESD benefits through the new modernized system. The goal of today's webinar tutorial is to familiarize you with how the new online application works so that you have the confidence in beginning to use it yourself and you feel comfortable encouraging others to use it and show them how. I will not be delving into any of the ESD programs specifically, nor will I be discussing modernization generally. This is a technical training in using the new online tool. My hope is that by the end of the webinar, and certainly with more practice with the online application, you will come to value it as a useful tool for you and the Vermonters that you work with. Before we look at the application itself, there are a few important things to know getting started. Firstly, as of today, August 31st, the application is not yet live. When it does go live, you will be able to access it from the website mybenefits.vt.gov. For today's tutorial, we will be using a training website. This training website is a permanent URL so that you can return to it at any time to practice with the application. However, please know that as ESD continues to enhance the application, what you see on the training site today may change a bit over time. ESD has received a great deal of feedback from the community on what works and what doesn't with the application, and they are working diligently to make improvements. At the end of this webinar, you'll also have the opportunity to provide ESD with your feedback. The online application works best in Internet Explorer or Mozilla Firefox. If people experience difficulties accessing the application or navigating through it, staff at the Benefits Service Center, commonly known as DCS Call Center, are available to troubleshoot people's problems. However, if an applicant needs assistance throughout the application, call center staff will refer him or her to a community organization that helps people apply. The first thing to do upon arriving to the site is to log on. A new applicant will have to create a new account, which requires a user ID, PIN, and password. Please note that the PIN requirement may be removed in the future. Once an account is created, an applicant has the ability to log on and off and return to the application at any time. Once an applicant begins an application online, they have 30 days to submit it. Within those 30 days, all information will be saved. But after 30 days, the application will be deleted and you must begin a new application if it has not yet been submitted. An applicant has the right to submit an incomplete application. The applicant's name, social security number, address, and signature are the only information required to submit an application. However, the more information an applicant can provide, the more likely ESD will be able to process an application quickly and accurately. Now let's get started. When we click on the training website URL, which takes a moment to load, we're brought to a security certificate error page or warning page. Don't worry, just click continue to this website. This message will not be part of the application once it is live. That's just what happens with the training site. We're then taken to a login page. Click OK after you read the pop-up message. And then today we're acting as a new user, so we click here to create an account. At this point, we need to create a user ID, PIN, and password, and be sure to write them down. Once you have your user ID, PIN, and password, you're brought to the registration page. Notice that an applicant may also choose to include an email address with their account. This allows the applicant to receive a confirmation notice via email when their application has been submitted, as well as receive an email notice to reset their ID or password if they forget it. However, an email is not required. Advocates also should not use their own emails for their clients, as email can only be used for one account, not multiple client accounts. If an applicant does not have an email, they will also be able to reset a forgotten ID or password by calling the Benefits Service Center or call center. All that said, let's begin a new application. In order to apply for benefits, please click here. We do not yet have an application in process, so we will begin a new one. Currently, when we begin a new application on the training site, we're immediately taken to a web page for question number 1. When the site is live, there should be an instruction page preceding question 1 that gives applicants more information about how to use the internet and navigate the site, as well as information on the kinds of questions that will be asked and the kinds of documents and information they will want to have readily at hand, such as income and expense information. Question wording is almost identical to that on the questions of the paper application. So question 1 is the applicant or head of household's identifying information. Let's pretend, for the purposes of this training, that my name is Barbara Howard. And so I add my information here, and then I click Next. The more information you can provide, the more likely ESD will be able to make a decision. Whoops. Okay. I'm going to click Next, which brings me to question 2. Question 2 asks what programs Barbara is applying for. An applicant may apply for one program or as many as they like. The application technology is smart enough that it will automatically skip questions that are unrelated to the programs the applicant chooses to apply for. There are 50 questions total. If an applicant wants to apply for all programs, they will be asked all 50 questions. However, if they only want to apply for one program, the application becomes much shorter. As we navigate through the application, we want to avoid the back and forward arrows in our web browser up in the left-hand corner. Instead, we want to navigate backward and forward within the application using the previous and next arrows. Save and exit is the log off option, which saves whatever information has been entered and brings the applicant back to the login page. An applicant may also skip questions going forward or backward by using the Jump to Question drop-down box. For example, if an applicant is at question 10 but wants to return realizes they filled out question 3 incorrectly, they can jump back to question 3, edit it, and then return to question 10 by using this drop-down box. As you can see in the drop-down box, questions 1 through 18 relate to household members. Questions 19 through 25 relate to resources. 19 through 25, are about health care. Questions 26 through 31 relate to resources. Questions 32 through 39 are income questions. And questions 40 through 49 are about expenses. For each yes or no question, if an applicant chooses no, the application will automatically load to the next relevant question page without having to also click the next button. If an applicant instead clicks yes to a yes or no question, the question will expand, asking for more information. At this point, I'm just going to cover a few of the more complicated questions that often require more layered information. So let's jump to question 5, household members. Question 5 asks for household member information. Click the button Add New Household Member to add additional members. A pop-up window comes up. Please note that certain fields are outlined in red because they are required. Also, other fields that require a certain number of digits, such as the date or Social Security number, become red when you're filling them out until the field is completed with the correct number of digits. When a new household member's data has been entered, click Save Info. Continue to do this for multiple household members. You can also click Edit Member if there is misinformation you need to correct or add. So in this box, I'm going to add Barbara's husband, Bob. Bob Howard, Sr. He finished high school, grade 12, and he is a U.S. citizen. And he is applying for all the programs that Barbara's also applying for. And then we save his info. So there you'll see that we have 2 household members included, Barbara and Bob. If we notice something missing from Barbara's information, then we can go to Edit Member. And it looks like we forgot to check boxes for what she's applying for. So we'll check all the boxes. Great. So once you have all your household members entered, you can click Next. Now let's skip to question 22, which is about health insurance. If we click Yes, a large box opens up asking for a lot of health insurance information, including policy and group numbers, date coverage began, premium amount, type of coverage, etc. It's important to use the smaller box within the larger box to add additional household members. So if the policy was in Barbara's name, we could then add Bob also as being included in the policy. Or if the policyholder in this box was Bob and Barbara was also covered, we would add her here. If there's more than one health insurance policy, then you would need to save all info, and you could add an additional policy. Once you've completed it, you'd click the Next button. Let's skip to question 27 to get a sense of what a resource question looks like. Does anyone have money in a bank, credit union, or other institution? If we say yes, a drop-down box comes up, and it asks for the account owner. And we can choose Barbara or Bob, ask for the account type, checking, or savings, or all other kinds of savings. Ask for the bank ID number. And here, in this blue box up here, it gives you a little help with what the ID number is. It's the routing number. Ask for the balance, the bank name and location, etc. If a household has more than one kind of account, or one person has more than one account, you would save info and you could add another account. Let's try another question. Let's jump to question 32, which asks about income from a job. Does anyone have income from a job, internship, or training program? And again, it provides this little bit of added information in this blue box to explain what they're looking for here. If we click yes, we get a box that drops down and asks who is working or who has earned income, Barbara or Bob. We would choose one of them. It asks how often paychecks are issued, whether it's weekly, biweekly, or whatever. Ask for the employer's name and number in case that information needs to be verified. And this smaller box here may change before the site goes live. But this is where an applicant would include pay stub information. So on an applicant's pay stub, the date paid, the number of hours worked within that time period. So if Barbara was paid biweekly, say she worked 40 hours a week, the number of hours she worked in that pay period would be 80, and how much she earned in that pay period, and if there were any additional tips and commissions. And then within that 30 days, if she's paid twice, she would want to save this information and include the information from another pay stub. So that's earned income. And now let's skip to question 50. We've answered all of the income and expenses questions, and this is the final question on the application. It asks if the applicant has an authorized representative, power of attorney, legal guardian, alternate reporter, or enrollment assister. If so, the applicant must click on the box. First click yes, if they do have one. And then click on the box that gives permission to ESD to share the applicant's information with the person identified in the fields. So if I am Barbara, I give permission to Economic Services to share my information with Angela Smith-Jang, who is helping me today as my enrollment assister. So that's where I would put Angela Smith-Jang, and really doesn't allow me to do hyphens, and my contact information there, and I could save that information. If it was just my neighbor or friend or someone who really didn't want to be involved in my case going forward, but who had actually helped me out with this application, me being Barbara, then that person's information could go here. An applicant may have multiple helpers, for example, a power of attorney and an enrollment assister. Or one person may be acting in multiple helping roles for an applicant, for example, as both alternate reporter and enrollment assister. For many agencies that have an official letter of agreement with ESD, advocates will click Enrollment Assister, which will allow an advocate to then view the applicant's benefit account information on mybenefits.vt.gov when the Community Partner Portal is actually developed. For more information on the role of the agency, the community agency, as enrollment assister, I recommend that you contact your regional resource system coordinator. If you don't know who that person is for your region, call the Benefits Service Center, the call center, 1-800-479-6151, if you don't know who that person is, and you can be connected with them. So once you've filled out question 50, click Next. And at this point, the next page you see is a review of your application. You're able to review all of the questions and responses. And by scrolling to the bottom of the review page, it's a long page because there are a lot of questions. If you scroll all the way to the bottom, the jump to question box is still here. So if Barbara noticed that she filled out a part of the question, one question incorrectly, or there was missing information that she wanted to go back and edit, she could jump back to any question, fill that out, and then jump back here to the review page and review it again. This is also the page where the applicant has the opportunity to print the application. Once the application is submitted, the applicant has no access to what's been submitted. So it's important to print the application if you want a hard copy for your records. So clicking Next brings you to the final page, which is the Sign the Application page. There's information here about rights and responsibilities, and the applicant must click this box that says they've completed the application to the best they could and they understand their rights and responsibilities. By clicking Sign this application, their application is officially signed, as if they wrote out their own signature on paper. A pop-up appears as one more reminder about completing the application, because once the Finish button is checked, the application is officially submitted. Click OK. And finally, click Finish to submit the application. It will then be electronically sent to the next available eligibility worker. The training page shows an error message, but this is only because the information on the training page doesn't actually go anywhere. It doesn't go into the ESD system. So that's why that error page comes up. In reality, on the live site, when someone clicks Finish, their information will be automatically sent to the ESD system. So once submitted, an application cannot be accessed and edited by the applicant. If information changes, if the household information changes, income or expenses, the applicant may call the Benefits Service Center, the call center, to report a change to their application. So we are done on the application for today. Just a few things to remember before we end this tutorial. When available, access the online application at www.mybenefits.vt.gov. That is how applicants and service providers will get to the application. But in the meantime, you can practice using the online application on the training website, https://159.105.1.142. Please share your feedback with ESD, what you like, what you don't like, how it feels to use the application, by going to this online survey on SurveyMonkey. And be sure to connect with your regional resource system coordinator. Again, if you don't know who that person is for your region, please call the call center and they can let you know. To end, I just really want to say thank you so much for participating. If you would like outreach materials, including posters and rack cards, please contact me at angela@vtnohunger.org. Also, let me know if you have any additional questions or comments on this webinar tutorial. I really appreciate you taking time today to participate, and I hope you found it helpful. And I really look forward to continuing our work together to serve Vermonters in need. Have a great day.